Hi there, I'm Ken Lammers, your host, and this is Cltv. Today's topic, well, we're going to try to bring some neo-Luddite lawyers a little bit of news about the tech world. Stay tuned.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
Hi, I'm Ken. So what we're going to talk a little bit about today on Cltv is, well, we're going to talk about Twitter and its various clones or competitors. Talk a little bit about internet messaging, and then we're going to talk about, uh, well, the various social web things, MySpace, Friendster, blah blah. And after that, well, I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, so let's start by talking about Twitter and Twitter clones and Twitter competitors, whatever you want to call them. Now, Twitter may not have been the first of its kind, but it is the one that first gained prominence. It's basically kind of a mini blog. You put in a sentence, maybe two, if you can get it real short, and maybe you put in a link to some other stories. And that's what a lot of the people I follow do, because I follow a lot of the tech files out there, or tech media heroes, idols, whatever you want to call them. A lot of people wonder what Twitter's useful for. I tell you what I think it's useful for. If you have a group of friends, colleagues, anything like that, people that you went to law school with, people that you went to college with, buddies from high school, whatever, and you are all twittering, or as they call it, tweeting, and putting up just basic little things that happen in your life, well, then you don't feel like you're so out of touch when you show up at the next homecoming together, or you call each other over the phone or something like that. You kind of know what's, some things that are going on in their lives, what's important in their lives, that sort of thing. And it's kind of useful that way. But to be honest with you, there's not really, these aren't do or die programs. Now, Twitter, which being the first and the biggest, has had problems because, well, basically too many people are using it. It has the benefit of being extremely simple to use, and the problem of not having enough hardware or the proper hardware to stay up. It keeps shutting down on them because of overuse. Now, that's led to other companies coming around and trying to see what they can get. There's one called Pounce that came out. Now, this one is more for those people out there who are tech-oriented. It's more robust, and now I don't know that means it can carry more clients, but it means you can do things like send files or whatever. So it works out pretty well. Not really the thing for me, to be honest with you. Now, one which has made a lot of people very interested recently, primarily because of the big tech video idol himself, Leo Laporte, giving it a bit of a push, is Plurk. You see Plurk here, and Plurk doesn't put it in a like a list format or a blog format or anything. It puts things up like they're in calendar, or like they're on a calendar, and marks things as they go through. It's not a bad idea. Now, unfortunately, they weren't ready for prime time either, and they got smashed when Laporte, who tends to send a lot of people wherever he says, go look at this, sent a lot of people to him. But they got back up. They are pretty good. They do certain things to keep you kind of hooked. Once you start out, they have karma points. So for you to be able to do, like change what your screen name is, you have to have a certain amount of karma points. I don't remember how many, but it's kind of their way of trying to get you hooked. It's an interesting enough program. And kind of the dark horse out there is a program that's been around for a while called Jaiku or Haiku or however. It's not an American originating program. It's from somewhere overseas. I can't remember off the top of my head. Now, this program came out a while back, gained some notoriety. A lot of people seem to like it a lot, but recently it got bought by Google, and it's been closed so people can't join since then. But some of the tech shows seem to say that Google's trying to revamp it and going to relaunch it, and it's supposed to be really, really good. Who knows? Google's very hit or miss in those things. Those are your basic, short blogging style, short messenger style things. Again, not really vital, but they can be addictive if you look into them. Not really all that useful for the business, to be honest with you. The next thing we're going to talk about is useful messaging services. Now, I'm going to point you to a bunch of free ones, and I'm going to warn you about what I think is a trap. There's, AOL, Instant Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, and Google Talk. Now, these are all free services. Now, and there's also, like, MSN has a messenger, and there are older styles, which, some of the tech files still use. But these are the ones that if you're just basically starting out, you kind of want to look towards, I think. Now, the advantage that these services give you is that, well, for instance, if you have email at AOL, the AOL Instant Messenger will, in addition to telling you, in addition to letting people instant message you, will tell you when your emails have come in. Same thing for Yahoo, same thing for Google Talk. Now, they all do a pretty good job of that. There's a program out there which lets you put them together, with the exception of Google Talk, which I'm not sure, and I don't know the technical reasons behind that. I knew at one time, but I can't remember off the top of my head. It's called Trillion, and here's a picture of Trillion. And it allows you to merge, like say you've got an AOL Instant Message, and you've got MSN and Yahoo Messenger and old ICQ, whatever. You can put them all in on this, and they will pop up, and it will tell you when you've got mail. It will tell you when you've got, an instant message, that sort of thing. Now, I'm not sure if Trillion can be carried to a phone, but AOL Instant Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, and Google Talk can be. And they can be carried to some pretty basic phones. So they become really useful tools. If you've got your phone set on, buzz or whatever, or blink, light blinking, and you don't really have to have, we're not talking about some things that are going to be Blackberries or Nokia's top-of-the-line phones or anything like that. We're talking some pretty basic phones, and this is a way that your secretary, who has her own AOL account or Yahoo Messenger account or Google Talk account, can send you a message telling you, Judge wants you in courtroom 3 5 minutes ago, rather than having to send it to your voicemail and hope that you get somewhere where you can actually open a doggone phone without having a judge throw you in jail for contempt for opening a phone in his courtroom, that sort of thing. So they do have some really serious uses. I like these programs. I recommend them to you. I would probably recommend AOL Instant Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, maybe MSN Messenger, because they are, like I say, compatible with like Trillion or something like that, so you could keep track if you had more than one. Which would mean that, say, if you wanted to say AOL is your business one and Yahoo is your personal one, you could both put them on Trillion. Like I said, and Trillion probably does import to a phone, but I've not tried. Even if it doesn't import to a phone, when you're on your home computer or your computer at work, you could have it up and it would let you know what's going on. And finally, we're going to talk about social networking sites. These actually may have some advertising capabilities, but let's talk about some of the history first. Start out with Friendster. Now, Friendster, again, I don't know if it was the first one, but it was the first really big one that I can think of that popped up. Now, all these sites have same basic things to them. A picture of the person who's got a profile, that's a profile page of the person. Picture of that person, information about that person, maybe usually some sort of pithy saying, ways to contact them, usually email on the social network, which will be then sent to his email, his actual email, which can be annoying. as those are sometimes spammed. But they have different things to them, different games, different backgrounds you can put on, all sorts of things. Now, Friendster, as I said, was probably the first big one that I ever heard of, and it was there for a while. But it had the same sort of problem that Twitter's having. It just couldn't keep up, and eventually, after it had crashed a million times and people just got disgusted, a lot of people left it. It's still out there, but it's not anywhere near as big as it used to be. Other sites that are out there are things like this. You'll find social networking sites that you just don't know where they come from, what they're about. Tagged, I'm not really sure where Tagged's from. I don't really remember how I got into this one, but it's there. I don't use it. Orkut, which is a very popular site in Brazil, social networking site in Brazil, not here in the U.S. Bebo, which is supposed to be a very popular networking site in the U.K., again, not here in the U.S. So let's move on to the ones that are the big dogs in the U.S., and there are two of them. The first is MySpace. Now, MySpace got big. It started out as being something that that musicians use to try to put forward their work. They put their work up, people could put it on their site, everybody would put up profiles, and it was a way for some musicians to get music out there and get real popular, try to break through. This is a warning, though. I will warn you about MySpace. If you're going to use MySpace at work, turn off your speakers, because you never know. If you go to somebody's profile, even if it's somebody you've known before, they may have changed the song, and something like, I don't know, it seems like 80% of the people on MySpace have a song that automatically turns on the moment you open their MySpace page. They may have changed their song to something that you don't want your people in your office to hear. It may have been classical music yesterday. Today it might be some sort of reggae espousing the wonderfulness of marijuana and ketamine or some such thing. So you want to be careful there. And MySpace got pretty big. You can put videos on it. You can put pictures on it. You can put different things where it scrolls through pictures that you want people to see. It got pretty big, and it got real big. Eventually, there came a point where a competitor arose called Facebook. Now, Facebook started out, I think, at one school. Only people from that school could get on it. I can't remember which one. For some reason, Harvard sticks in my head, but I don't take my word on that. Then it became only for people who were in college. And then it became people who were in college and high school, and then it just kept going from there, alumni and all sorts of things. And eventually it just became open to everybody. Now, Facebook has more stuff on it. It used to not do as much video and all that sort of thing. I think you can get them on there now. Facebook does a lot of really silly, let's say what they are, stupid games that people want to play on there. And I mean, they're games. They're not, I'm not talking mind games. And it's actually kind of annoying. But Facebook became kind of the big split. The tech files went to Facebook because it allowed them to do more than MySpace would. And the kind of upper class folks, from college and grad school and all them sort of good things, went off to Facebook. Now, a lot of people have pages on both of them, but Facebook kind of drew off those kind of people. However, one big difference between Facebook and MySpace. Facebook, unless somebody says, yes, you can look at my profile, nobody can look at anybody's profile. And MySpace, people can. People can search around, and unless you've specifically said, no, you can't, and people can't look at my profile, MySpace shows everybody the profile. So MySpace turns out to be more useful and more interesting than Facebook for a lot of people. Facebook, while it still, I think, remains somewhat of the elite favorite, MySpace is the champ, and it is, by vast majority, the largest social networking site. And what you'll see, some interesting stuff. The people who have been convinced over time that they should blog because, it's going to bring business to their office, Well, they do the same thing on MySpace, and it's easier to do on MySpace. So, so you see things like this. This is the page for the Martindale Group, which is a personal injury law group. Uh, it's pretty bad. But they got it up there, they get their information, and if somebody looks on MySpace for a personal injury lawyer, they'll pop up. Here's another personal injury lawyer. Bit of a tighter site, Christopher Davis. Now, I got to admit that I went to college with a Chris Davis. That's why I kind of tripped across this site, but it's not the same guy. Now, here's a divorce lawyer, Lawyer Kelly. And she's put some work into it. It's well put together, kind of nice, kind of feminine, so it works out pretty well. And she's got messages down at the bottom talking about her marrying her second husband. I don't know if she practices what she practices or what, but it's kind of interesting. And then we have this one here. And she's all over the internet. She is a lawyer out in California who is out there defending the drug, the people who are caught with drugs. So she's advertising everywhere on the internet, so it's not surprising at all we find her on MySpace. I gotta say, I really don't think that most people are going to find a whole lot of business out of this. Let's be honest here. This is a marginal thing. You're going to end up with, if you've got 90% of the market already through your phone advertising and phone book advertising and your billboards and whatever else, or it's the other way around, if you can't afford those kind of advertising, well then, it might be a way to try to draw some business. I'm not sure that you're going to get much. But people might search through MySpace looking for lawyers. You'll see all sorts of advertising and other really interesting things if you search through MySpace. Try searching for gangs. You'll find really interesting stuff if you search for gangs. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's my tour of the various and sundry internet social networking sites. So I will now move on and close the day out. Okay. So, you've seen pretty much all there is to see, or as much as I've got to say about it at least. And next time I talk about tech, I might talk about smartphones a little bit. Kind of had some fun with these over the years. Can't afford to buy the really nice ones anymore, but, it's all part of the game. Anyway, I know last time I said something about possibly changing the name of CLTV. I looked around for various names that I might have been interested in changing it to, and they're all taken too. As I remember from way back in time, copyright law or whatever law, if they've got this in one area and I take over the rest of the world using this, I just can't infringe on them using it in one area, so I won't. I'll just keep using it here and trust that they'll play by the same rules. Anyway, until I get that cease and desist letter, ladies and gentlemen, it's still CLTV, and I'll see you next week.